What's up, guys? We are back with our weekly high school football show, Mojave County Football
Talk. Mojave County Football Talk Show. Yeah.
Mojave County Football Talk. We are going to review last week's games. We are going to go over our game of the week. We are going to recap all the games that finished from last week, as well as preview the upcoming games, which include 4A season openers.
Yep.
A lot to go over.
Yep. Seven
Some
games.
shockers. We went 1-3. Our local bias betrayed us.
Hard.
Our local bias betrayed us, but you know what? For one, those are our kids we know and things, and it's early in the season. There's a lot of football to learn. There's a lot of football to play. So, we went 1-3. Luckily,
so did everyone else.
Yeah, luckily so did the public, and I think we were all on the same page,
Yeah.
and we got burned by the same games.
Yeah.
Which is really a lot of fun, regardless. I'm trying to find our live here and share it so I can get this thing out of here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead and share it.
But if you get a chance, you catch the show, you catch us live right now. If you could, share that thing. We're trying to get it out there. We've gotten some great feedback from people. A lot of fun walking that Desert Star sideline and having people say, man, thanks for mentioning us. Hey, look out for this kid. Like, it's a lot of fun knowing people were excited about football.
Yeah, no, definitely. Didn't realize how popular the show has gotten, and those people down in Fort Mojave, they love us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And with that said, I think we jump right into last week's game of the week, which was the one we got right.
Yeah.
Desert Star, Kingman Academy.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So, start of the game, Desert Star, 3 and out, have to punt the ball. It was a muff punt, I believe, correct?
Yeah, a little bit of a shank punt. You probably couldn't have had a worse start to a game or even a high school football program.
Yes.
And, but boy, did they turn it around.
Yes, and turned it around quick immediately on the next drive, getting into the end zone. They dominated the time possession. They dominated both sides of the ball for the vast majority of the night.
Yeah, they did a great job. And, I'm going to give a shout out here to Coach Jones, who rightfully deserves a little kudos. Once that defense got settled in, I mean, they played fast. They played aggressive. I don't know exactly what happened, but they beat up that quarterback a little bit. I know they had a couple other kids come in for Kingman Academy.
Yes, Braden Russell, he did appear to get injured in the first half and did not return for the rest of the game. Do not know what his status is for next week, but they were after the quarterback all night.
They pinned their ears back and they went.
And they did a great job of containing Olave.
Yeah.
Forcing them to have to give the ball out to other guys.
Which I think we knew that Olave getting loose in the open field was going to be key, and they did a great job bottling it up. And I just thought it was a great job by that defense and game planning, which we talked about. They would be prepared. I would have a good look at them at the scrimmage.
Only held him to over one rush over 20 yards. Forced them to get the ball to their wide receiver, Colton Parrott, got him on a nice little orbit motion, and that was their only offensive touchdown of the game.
Yep, absolutely. So congratulations to Desert Star and us for getting one game right.
Yep.
But that leads us to our Player of the Week.
Yes. Player of the Week this week is freshman running back linebacker for Desert Star, Gavin Canning. 17 carries, 168 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns.
A great shot right there.
1 for 1 passing the football, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. Doing it on both sides of the ball. Yeah,
really had a spectacular performance. Looked like he had a little cramping issue or something. Came out for a little bit. As soon as he went right back in, picked up right where he left off.
Didn't miss a beat.
I know that there's some great video and highlights out there, probably more than we could possibly gather.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Desert Star and to Gavin Canning for being our first
ever Player of the Week.
Player of the Week on our show. So congratulations so much. I do want to get into reviewing the rest of this week's games that just happened, but I do want to give a shout out to Desert Star. Their crowd was hyped up.
Amazing.
They made the most out of what they had. I mean, they got
these
limited seating, and they packed it in.
Tiny bleachers.
Tiny bleachers. I felt bad because I was standing in front of one of them, and I was like, I am not a good window. So, and then again, we talked about it from a coaching perspective. Boy, Coach Clark had them sharp, dialed in. The mechanics were good. Not a lot of confusion, not a lot of pre-snap mistakes. There's some great shots from that game. And Coach Petrick, there's a Player of the Week.
Yep.
I'm surprised he never actually threw me out of a game, but I got pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations to them. It was a lot of fun. And that being said, we got some other games to review. So
we do.
Let's jump into River Valley Chrisman.
Yes.
The Rattlers got out early. River Valley charged back late, but just couldn't quite mount the full comeback. Sounds like a couple breakdowns, a couple big plays kind of stopped the comeback. But we thought Chrisman would be that team.
Yeah.
We thought that ranking was a little haywire.
Yeah. Coach King was right. Definitely, Crimson is a lot better than people think they were going to be to start this year, and they're definitely looking like a top 10 team in 3A.
Yeah, and we had some video, and I watched some review. Do you have that pregame shot of that sunset, Arganda? That's a well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you, if this
look at
doesn't
that.
get you excited about high school football, and look at that stands, they are packed out
Yeah.
there. I mean, that's a friggin' big time game right there, and River Valley went down a little bit. Tough game, long on the road. I bet a shiny nickel the AC wasn't great on that bus ride.
Right.
It
yeah.
never is. But it did produce our play of the week.
Yes, it did. Aiden Montgomery with his 4th and 17 conversion to keep the drive going. Do we have the film for that?
That's not Aiden Montgomery. I think that's our Twitter video. And honestly, it was, really a crucial time in the game, down a couple scores.
Yes.
4th and 17. It's kind of your make or break it play.
Yeah.
And put the kid out for a pass. Typically a running back, put the ball in his hands.
Yeah, broke
And,
a couple tackles, got the first down, which eventually led to them scoring on that drive, making a one-possession game again, but
Yeah.
just couldn't.
Yeah, and
Seal the deal.
I actually ran into Mickey Smith, quarterback at Jimmy John's, because, I'm a big Jimmy John's guy.
Yep,
Yeah, this is
that's
it right here.
Here it is.
Watch this play, guys. I mean,
throw
listen,
by
that's
Mickey.
big hit, weathered it all.
Stays on
Broke
his feet.
outside, got a nice block. Converting a 4th and 17, so heck of a play, heck of a throw. And that just, after that, you put the score, you cut it down to 1 score, they score again. And, we all know coaching football, you get into that 2-score situation with limited time, you got to play out of character.
Right.
And just weren't able to complete the comeback.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple guys. It sounds like that Chrisman team was pretty big, pretty physical. They're going to be an absolute force in that division, and it doesn't get any easier for River this week.
No, it does not.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get to that a little bit later, but hell of a play, kid. Congratulations. Play of the week. We can't wait to have some more film to see some more of these big time plays. And I appreciate you guys sending them in. We have some scrimmage film from some guys who made some big plays. It was a lot of fun. So that being said, our other home games that betrayed us,
Yes.
Malk Mogion started out tight.
Yes, Malk started out hot off the gates, had the lead in the first quarter, and it kind of just fell apart. Had a few interceptions thrown to Mogion. Turns out Mogion returning 6 of 8 guys on defense was really important.
Yeah, it really was. I followed along. I was at the Mojave scrimmage, and I was following along. Honiger's dad does a great job of doing play-by-play in the comments, unintentionally, I think. But I appreciate that. And, he was making plays. I think he had either scoop and score or a pick 6
Yes.
early. And then they just, it got away from them and ended up being a little bit of a rough game, 64-26.
Yeah, I did.
And also, just so you know, 8-man is a little bit more scoring typically.
Right.
So that 64 is, we're not there. We're not there. What are we doing? You lost me.
Yep. But yeah, Honiger, he did have 3 catches, 85 yards and a touchdown, and he did have the 1 60-yard scoop and score, which kept them in the game early, but just they could not keep it.
And you were saying you noticed that Torres ended up not getting any touches in that game. We thought he'd be a big part of that offense.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised that Torres did not touch the ball at all.
Yeah, it sounded like he was working a little bit of an injury or something came up and wasn't able to participate. And, an 8-man, small school,
Yeah.
a good athlete like that, played both sides of the ball, has a huge impact.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that had a huge effect on both sides. And again, going back to football talk, if your offense is struggling to stay on the field, then your defense is on the field a lot, and it just kind of snowballs on you. So
And Malk has a short week now. They play Thursday night with another tough opponent, similar to River Valley's game this week as well. So.
And who
things
they
do
got
not
this
get-
week?
They have Williams in Williams.
who beat the brakes off of somebody.
Who beat the brakes of somebody. We will talk about that soon, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So then that takes us to the Kingman game. And again, We all picked Kingman.
Yes.
Our local biases betray us.
Yes, it did.
And but it ended up getting to be a good game. 34-22.
Yeah.
Page ended up coming back, or excuse me, ahead early.
Yeah.
Managed to hold on.
The score does not tell the story of the game. It was to start the game, second play of Page's first offensive drive. Kingman picks off the ball, gets it to the 10-yard line. Very next, first offensive play for Kingman, right into the end zone, make the 2-point conversion, 8-0 Kingman. But then the Page quarterback, very great player, was Dyson, the Kingman pass secondary all night. It was rough. But Kingman's run game really was great, averaging 5 to 6 yards a carry. They have 3 great senior running backs in Hayden Lancaster, Koa Numera, and Marty Perez. They got DeAnthony Bush going in the second half with more QB design runs, which really got back in the game. It was with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It was 21-14 Page, and it was a 3rd and 15, and the Page quarterback completed it to make it a 4th and 5, but there was a holding penalty. And there was some confusion talking with some of the Kingman coaches after the game about whether or not it was a complete or completed pass. The sideline judge said it was an incomplete pass and it was going to be 4th and 15 if they declined the penalty. So they did decline the penalty. And then there was kind of confusion when the ball got moved up to 4th and 5 on Page's own 15. So, and after that, 4th and 5.
Pretty rare to decline a holding.
Yeah, definitely in that situation.
Yeah.
And I give props to Page for going for it on their own 15-yard line, 4th and 5.
That's make or break territory right
but
there.
Quarterback scrambled, went 80-plus yards into the end zone, and then from that point, Kingman was just trailing by 2 touchdowns the entire
Coach,
night, fighting to come back.
Do you think they tried to protect the quarterback a little bit by putting it in the running back hands early, or because I figured that would be the complete opposite? Get the ball in his hands, have him, your playmaker, make plays. What do you think was what's going on
It
there?
definitely seemed like that in the first half. They did throw the ball 13 times. It's a little more than usual compared to how the offense ran last year. A lot of drops, but Kingman has some easy things they could fix. There were some couple of penalties they can clean up. 6 to 7 drop passes, which was a big factor in the Kingman passing game. Easy fixes.
And it's high school football. Yeah. It's early.
Right.
I always tell people it's a weird series of sprints. It's a collection of 10 sprints, but it ends up being a long race. And this week 1 team that you see in every one of these games will not be the week 10 team you see at the end. It's all about who gets better, who fixes their mistakes, who stays healthy, especially a lot of us on this list here are all smaller schools.
Yes.
So that is our recap of games. Obviously, we picked them all wrong other than one.
Star, yeah.
Anything jump out at you that you really just didn't see coming?
Definitely Chrisman. I did not think they were that good. Coach King was definitely right. I slept on Chrisman a little bit, and I'm willing to admit my faults there. Definitely surprised.
So here's the question. Are you going to stay locally biased, or have you learned your lesson?
We might have to ruffle a couple feathers this week. Because I thought week 1's games are going to be a little more in our favor. Week 2, we have some much more tougher teams coming to the county. It's going to be...
Yeah. There's a lot of fun games coming up, and I want to get into them. Right now. Let's. What do you have them in order, Coach? Do you have a preference?
Yeah.
Doubleheader at the Field House. 4A teams jumping right into their week 1 schedules, and they're going to be fun.
And then we'll start off this week. We have a Thursday night game. Malk travels just slightly down I-40 to Williams High School for a Thursday night game.
Ooh, that's a tight one. Look at that.
Yeah. This one was close. I disagree with this one. I believe Williams is going to win this matchup. Williams last Friday night was sort of the story in Arizona high school football, sending 3 of Mayer's players to the hospital.
That's some rough football.
Coach Brownlee, who's been there for 16 years now, they had a losing season last year. I believe he's brought the toughness back. And then Williams, they have a 40-man roster. They got 40 guys signed. You have to put Desert Star and the Academy's roster together to get a roster.
That's more than I had as a varsity coach at Mojave. So 40 is a huge roster, especially in that world. Williams is always tough.
Yes.
They produce some good athletes. And then, it comes down to a little bit of health. If, you're starting running backs, I don't know if he plays D-line or linebacker, and Torres is not available. I think that's 50-50, and I think it's probably going to shift to the Williams way here. So
this was a game that Malk won last year, 20-12. one of Williams' 6 losses. I think Williams has been rebuilt this offseason, and they will be in contention for the 1A state title. Who do you like in this game, Coach?
I'm probably going to go Williams just based off of the results of the 2 games and whether they're healthy coming out. So that's unfortunately, my Malk friends, that's a tough game. It's a tough way to open the season. Hopefully everybody gets healthy, gets out there and get your best shot and shock us.
Right. So now we'll go on to our next game at 1 o'clock at the Sky Dome in Flagstaff. Lake Havasu will be hosting Gila Ridge from Yuma. Gila Ridge is the first big school to hire a female head coach. Her name is Jessica Slaughter. She's entering her 4th season at Gila Ridge. I'm really excited. I think Havasu is the favorite in this one. There's a coach of Coach
and Gila
Slaughter.
Ridge is who came up in scrimmage Mojave, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if anyone from Havasu came up and got, but Gila Ridge, they look tough. They played good ball.
Yeah.
They have a pretty balanced. They had a big second group also, so they have enough bodies out there to really practice and get things going. I actually got a little bit of a peek. I got some scrimmage footage from Havasu, if you have it, Argonda. I think they had a little inter squad maybe. And they got a lot of bodies out there too. And they're, no, not that one. That's Lee Williams.
Lee. Nope.
So if you can find that Lake Havasu one, whenever you get a chance, pop it up. And I think it's going to be a great matchup, and it's going to be a great barometer. There you go. Yeah, I mean, Liz, you're moving that line, breaking a big one there. I mean, that's a coach's dream right there.
I believe this was their scrimmage against either Cocoa or Flagstaff.
Ah, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this catch. Great timing.
Yeah.
Beautiful catch. Yeah, boy, you're right. That is a little bit of a too cool-looking temperature place to be in Havasu.
Yeah,
so.
Just a bit. Too many trees.
Too many trees for Havasu.
Yeah.
So, and that group looks good. They got good numbers out, and I actually really appreciate some of the Havasu faithful sending in information and things like that.
Yes, definitely.
So pretty exciting.
They returned 7 starters on offense, 9 on defense. I think Havasu is going to have a great game on the defensive side of the ball. I am picking Havasu to win a close one.
I'm picking Havasu also. Unfortunately, going kind of blind on both of them outside of a couple scrimmages. And so I'm not going to piss off anyone from Havasu until the shovel game week. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get on their good side now.
Right, yeah. Last thing I will say about Havasu, all-name team, wide receiver Halo Jump, 6'3" wide receiver, senior for the Knights. Great name. I'm excited to watch him play this year.
That is a great name. That's pretty hard to beat. Thank God he's not like a D tackle or something.
Right,
fit,
yeah.
You know, Halo Jump doesn't sound like a 300-pound D lineman. Yeah, absolutely. So, what you got next, Coach?
Next, we got Ben Franklin is visiting the Field House at 3 o'clock. They'll be the first of the doubleheader at the Field House on Friday night versus River Valley. Ben Franklin, I believe, is the only school that the public picked to win this week that was not from Mojave County. And it makes sense because I have them as the favorite to win 3A this year. Coach Norris, one of the better coaches in the state, transitioning from a double wing offense to more of a spread passing attack. And they showed it last week against, was it Dysart, I believe?
Yes. They played Dysart and they won big.
Yes.
And Dysart's supposed to be a tough team as well. Yeah. I'm going Ben Franklin also, and it breaks my heart. Hopefully a little bit of home magic comes back for River Valley. They get in the field house. They don't have the nasty bus ride.
Right.
Worked out some of the kinks. I think Ben Franklin is probably the favorite to win state in that conference, or in that division, excuse me. And that's, we talked about that murderer's row of games that River Valley has.
And this is the biggest of those murderers.
This is probably the biggest. And then ironically, we thought Seton Catholic would be the other one at the back half, and they had a rough start to their season. So, maybe we're seeing how this thing shapes up. But Ben Franklin looks tough.
Yeah, still early in the season. We don't know who's good, who's not yet. River, if they're going to win this game, it's going to be about controlling the time possession, controlling the clock, relying on Garmin's and Montgomery, and maybe a little bit of quarterback runs from Mickey Smith as well.
Yeah,
just keeping it out of Ben Franklin's hands.
It's a lot of firepower on Ben Franklin. We're going to learn more as the season goes. Unfortunately, we didn't really have any film of Ben Franklin to really reference.
Right.
But we saw them last year. We saw what they did week 1, and River Valley has historically kind of wanted to dominate the run, play tough on defense, and it's gonna play right into their hands, really.
Definitely.
So hopefully some of the boys can go out there, have a big game, shock the world, pull a Kingman River Valley.
Wouldn't be the first time there's been a shock at the field house.
Yeah, absolutely. So I talked to some guys. They said that Chrisman was big, they were tough, and the way River Valley battled with them tells me that they can play with anybody on the right day. Hopefully they can pull it out and make some big plays, some splash plays, kind of limit those big plays too. I mean, if you're getting beat over top, you can do a great job for 3 downs and give up a big play and, negate all of that in one pass. So I'm sure they'll get those things fixed and battle, which will probably end up being the top team in that conference. So.
Yep, I agree. All right, so our next game of the week, the second of the doubleheader at the field house.
Doubleheader at the field house.
Paradise Honors versus Mojave at 7 p.m. Friday night. This is a revenge game for Mojave. Paradise Honors famously ended their season in the first round of the playoffs last year.
We got Paradise Honors. We got to spell check those.
Oh, no.
That could that could have been way worse. We're one letter away from that being way worse.
That was not me.
You're going to get all the hate from Paradise Honors. Yeah.
We're sorry, guys.
That's all right. Listen, we're on a budget, guys. And I'll tell you, this is a rivalry game in every sense of the word. Kind of an innocuous game a few years back. Mojave was on the way up, and Paradise Honors came up and had a real dogfight of a game. They're tough. The following year, maybe 2 years later, Gage Baker comes up after a testy 7-on-7 exchange in Flagstaff, upset the then #1 team. Did not go over well in the football world. Then you fast forward again, and Paradise comes in and beats them in the playoffs and sends them home. So there's a lot of history, a little bad blood, and I'll tell you, I watched that Mojave scrimmage. They're very much the same team they were last year.
Yes.
They're fast, they're nasty, they hit. We'll see what Paradise Honors looks like.
So much of the same team, in fact, that they returned 9 starters on offense and defense.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of guys talked about what they lost, but kind of overlooked what they kept.
Yeah.
And that had been a historically young team, and even last year, they had some very big impact seniors, but there was only 3 or 4 of them.
Right.
And the rest of those guys come back, and they've been playing ball together since they were kids. I mean, you're not going to find they're like a bunch of brothers running around out there, and you're not going to find a tighter group than that group.
Right. We are talking about a lot of kids that played a lot of varsity as freshmen.
Right.
That are now entering their senior years now. So I'm definitely excited to see Mojave this year. I think they're going to have a good year. New coach at Paradise Honors, so don't necessarily know what the scheme's going to be, how much things have changed.
And I think they had some player exodus too at Paradise Honors. I thought I had heard that a quarterback left, and down in that world, it's tough.
Yes.
I mean, kids jump schools like crazy. So it's really going to be a new game where there's not a lot of, you're not going to be able to count on what the other guys did. And I actually think it's going to play in their favor in that if you come in, you try to bring in a bunch of new stuff or even just the same stuff with different wrinkles, it creates a lot of, chaos and mistakes. And it'll be a matter of whether Paradise has all that worked out or not. Because if we learn one thing about Mojave, they're going to hurt themselves as much as another team hurts them.
Yeah.
They play pretty aggressive. They make some mistakes, and that keeps teams in games, and it ends up biting them in the butt. So.
Yeah, definitely. No. But I have Mojave winning this game in a close one. I believe Mojave's going to start the year off 1-0, and I'm excited to watch them play.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm going to call in sick on Friday or something, just spend all day at the field house and watch all those football games. It's very exciting to have them both. A lot of times you have to pick and choose, and so I know it's actually very inconvenient for the teams and for the parents who want to go watch a 3 o'clock football game is tough. But as far as, if you're a football junkie and you want to watch some football, it's a great day, and there's a lot of really good teams. Right. Paradise Honors right down in the middle of that Phoenix area.
In the new surprise area, which is continuing to grow. Like, you're driving through there the other day, like, there's literally the difference between Paradise Honors and Wickenburg is 20 minutes. It is right there.
Well, and so even with that Chrisman game, they're right down the road from Eastmark, which is right down the road from Ben Franklin.
Yep.
So there's a huge pool of people, and I don't think anyone up here really realizes, you're in the backyard of hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of athletes down there.
From, yeah.
Yeah, and then they all kind of hop on a train and end up in one school. They create a pretty special program with a couple transfers. So
definitely. Who do you got this week, Coach?
I'm going Mojave.
All right.
Listen,
Shocker.
I'm an emotional voter. I've never bet against the Steelers in my 42 years of life, and I'm not betting against that group of kids ever. So I'll ride or die with them.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next game. Camp Verde at Desert Star, also on Friday night at Mojave Valley Community Park. It's going to be a great atmosphere again, I'm expecting. This one's a little interesting and a little harder to pick, I'd say, because Camp Verde, I'd argue, is one of their 3 toughest opponents going into the season. They got upset week 1 by Virtus Prep.
Yeah. You know, those prep schools, you never know what you're getting. It's kind of the same boat we just talked about. They have a little bit more flexibility and who can enroll there. I tell you what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to go with the team that's coached well, looks good, and isn't going to make mistakes. After week 1, that's Desert Star for me. Once we get some more eyes on some teams, maybe we'll make some more bold predictions.
Right.
But I'm going to go with what I know and take Desert Star there.
Yeah, for me, the key to this game is can the Titans secondary hold up against the Cowboys' air raid offense? They've been running the air raid at Camp Verde now for the last 4 years. They've been very successful, one of the better programs in 2A over the last 4 years. I am also picking Desert Star. I'm still on the hype train.
Yeah, got to ride that hype train as long as you can.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Coach Jones is really dialed in on the defense, too. He is also a Pittsburgh fan, so I know he's going to try to get after the quarterback. He's going to try and create some turnovers. You know, once you kind of grow up watching Steelers football, that's what your football DNA is. So I look forward to seeing how they scheme it up, and can't wait to see the results.
Yeah, my last point I'll make on Desert Star is they have a great coaching staff of 7 guys. 4 of these guys have been together since the River Valley days. 2 of them are former River Valley players. And then adding Coach Jones in from Vegas.
Yeah.
Having 7 coaches with a 25-man roster. Those kids are getting the best personalized
Listen,
coaching.
and by comparison, I've been watching, you know, as a former coach, I used to always comment how some of these big Phoenix schools come down with 10-plus coaches. They traveled 4 hours with 10-plus coaches.
Right.
And then support staff, trainers, video people, all the other things. And I look at a lot of these local schools, and they have a handful of coaches and a couple kid volunteers out there. So to have that kind of resources makes your preparation a lot better. What you need to get done in practice gets done. You don't have one guy juggling from 3 different, they might still be juggling 3 different positions and 3 position coaches, but it is a nice setup and really helps those kids be successful.
Definitely. All right, so moving on to our second to last game of the week, our only Saturday game. So for those of you going to the doubleheader in Bullhead, you can drive on up to Kingman Saturday, and you can watch the
Slight break in temperature.
It's a great break in temperature. The weather is amazing right now. We've been having overcast all week. Battle for Route 66. Kingman, the heavy favorite among the polls to win this one, and I tend to agree. I have Kingman win this game. I think the biggest thing is you got to put last week behind you and just pound the rock, do your job. We still don't know the status of Academy starting quarterback Braden Russell, unknown if he was going to play this week. I think Kingman is going to pound the rock, and they should win this one handily.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kingman also. My reason being is I think they're probably a little bit bigger and more physical, but you have a unique situation in where you have 2 teams coming off of losses.
Yes.
And then they're local teams playing against each other. This is going to be a very, very probably emotional, high-energy game. I mean, this is going to be about as big a Week 2 game as you're going to find in high school football. So.
No, I agree. I mean, important thing to remember with the Academy Kingman High rivalry is that it is probably one of the more closer when it comes to overall wins and losses of the rivalries of Mojave County. Kingman's won 5, the Academy's won 4. Thing is, the Academy won the first 4. Kingman has won the last 5.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, rivalries are fun like that. They rarely go tit for tat. You know, they're
Ebbs
kind
and
of
flows,
yes,
peaks
a lot
and
of ebbs and
valleys.
flows, and you see it a little bit right now in that Mojave Lake Havasu. You know, Havasu I think held that shovel for 10 years and then had a couple tough years the last couple, and you know, you kind of wonder where that wave kind of comes and goes for them. So
Yeah, this is definitely the toughest talent-wise team on the Academy schedule this year. Last week, I'd argue they play the best coach team that are on their schedule entire year. The good news is next week and from there on out, the Academy schedule gets a little significantly easier.
yeah, it's really tough when you are trying to grow and build and
Right.
starting with the roughest games. You know, as a coach, I always wanted, give me the gimme.
Yes, give me the
Then give
cupcake.
me the rest of it.
Yes.
You know, like let me get out there, work the kinks out. Let me, you know, and it doesn't always work out. Like we talked about last year, playing that Vegas team week
Slam
1
Academy,
was and I think they ended up being a semifinal state playoff.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Maybe even won there. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was a tough game.
Right.
And that's not my personal favorite. I know a lot of coaches have that. Give me nothing but 10 killers, and I want them all. And I'm like, nah, let me get one out of the way.
You want to ease into it.
That's how I like it. So, and I do like a bye week. I just found out a bunch of teams don't have bye weeks. That's rough. I love having a bye week. Get healthy, get right, let the boys kind of charge their batteries, get caught up on any things that are starting to catch up to them. But not having a bye week over 10 weeks is rough.
Yeah, the 1A, so Malk, the 2A schools, and the 3A schools appear to all have bye weeks looking at their schedules. The 4A schools do not. Havasu, Mojave, and Lee Williams don't appear to have bye weeks this year, which is a little concerning because that's definitely, 4A is, especially in the Grand Canyon region, especially, a lot more physical football.
A lot more physical, and unfortunately, so you are 4A, but really your participation is not, at least for Mojave. I don't know if Havasu's numbers are up. It's not as many kids as some of the other 4As.
Right.
And so you don't have the depth, the luxury of depth, but you still have the tough schedule, the tough opponents, the shorter rest periods, and it takes a toll.
Yeah, 4A is unique because you'll have schools that do full 2 platooning and having guys only playing one side of the ball. And then you'll have schools like in our half of the state where you got guys going both ways. You might have your quarterback, might also be your starting free safety.
So you mentioned that Mojave had 9 returners on offense. You didn't mention that most of them were the same people. You know, like that's the reality of you know, that Mojave football group is even going back several years. The reason why those kids had to play as freshmen is there weren't a lot of other options. There's you know, I think every football coach wants the best player out there, but you'd also like to be able to have kids develop the right way in the right place and not get fed. You know, I had a 14-year-old baby boy starting against 18-year-old men at left tackle, and that's a tough assignment, you know. And so there's a huge growth from 14 to 18. Look at some of these kids. I'll tell you, I look at them because I got all these pictures from when I was coaching, and I thought they were young men then. Well, they were babies, and now you look at them at 18. You know, they got beards and tattoos and muscles, and they're not the same 14-year-olds that played on that same field 4 years ago.
No, they've seen growth. They've grown as humans and adults.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over these last 4 years.
So that brings us to
our game of the week, Wickenburg versus Lee Williams. Coach Regan's debut as the head coach at Lee Williams High School. Also a heavy favorite. Wickenburg got a little beat up last week playing Gilbert Christian. Lee Williams had a great scrimmage against Yuma Catholic, known powerhouse in the Yuma area.
If you have that Lee Williams clip, we'll jump right into this. I'll tell you, I don't know who scheduled Lee Williams for Wick, but that AD probably not going to be the favorite guy on campus this week.
Yeah, no. This is definitely a revenge game. The Wickenburg loss last year was what derailed Lee Williams' season last year, and I know these kids are fired up and ready to take revenge.
There's no volume.
Yeah, so first of all, went down to Yuma Catholic and played Yuma Catholic in your scrimmage. Like, that's talking about going out and finding challenges. I mean, Yuma Catholic is, a great pick right there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, not to overstate, this isn't about Yuma Catholic, but Yuma Catholic's played good football, about as good as you can have over the last 10 years.
Yes,
and that is where they chose to drive 6 hours-ish by bus to go down and get your practice. That kind of goes to the mentality of what they're going after up there. And I think this is a real tough one for Wickenburg. Especially, I think that running back graduated. It was a big part of their offense last year.
Yes, a good chunk of Wickenburg's offensive production did graduate. They do return really good defensive end that had 7 sacks for them last year, but it's very new head coach. Jay Nunez is now taking over at Wickenburg. He is a disciple of Brett Davis from Tonopah Valley. They're running the run and shoot now at Wickenburg. Wickenburg historically has been a ground pound, run the eye, control the clock type of team. And now they're spreading it out with more 10 and 0 personnel sets. So definitely be interesting to see how the Wickenburg kids adapt to that.
Well, and it takes time. It takes time to develop those things, and hopefully they had a great offseason and they made a lot of those moves. You know, this will be a great test, see if they play away from Big Shane down up at Lee Williams, and or if they challenge that DN to really put in that work on that side. But I think that we've been paying close attention to Lee Will. Had we been paying close attention to Wick, maybe we'd have some insight or whatever. But that is a really good example of 11 guys on the same page doing the same thing. And I think it's going to make for a long day for Wickenburg.
Yep, definitely. I agree. Big Shane, one of 5 returning starters on the offensive side of the ball for Lee Williams, also returning 5 on the defensive side as well.
Yep, and that's going to be a lot to overcome. And Lee Williams, I don't know exactly the number count, but having gone and watched a few scrimmages, practices, things like that, the participation, it looks like they're getting at Lee Will is way up from last year. I know when Mojave played them, their sideline was already dwindled. And they had, I don't know, I'd probably say 15 more kids in that at that scrimmage playing on the varsity side.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely, had the chance to run into Coach Regan at the Desert Star Academy game on Thursday. He talked about how he had to make a couple cuts down, trim
What
his
a
roster
problem
down
to have
70.
for Arizona football.
Yeah. So he has 70 kids, which is he's excited about. He's really looking forward to this year. My question for this game is, who's going to step up in the passing attack for returning quarterback Morgan Quinn for Lee Williams? Lost his top 2 targets last year to graduation in Darius Walima and Thomas Doxlatter. I think senior Cooper Cronk, who was their 3rd leading receiver last year, he's going to step up more in the passing attack. And I also like junior Forrest Lane to step up as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know the names of those kids. I do know Cooper is a hell of a football player. I'm sure he's going to be a big target. And as you know, if that's kind of the number one, that's where the eyes are, that's where the focus of the defense is. Somebody else is going to have to step up and be a part of that. I don't know all the kids' names, but I'll tell you, they had a nice balanced group of wide receivers who went out. One of the things that's really challenging to do is getting kids to run their routes the right way, even when they're not getting the ball, and it makes a huge difference on the defense. And they seem to have a lot of that, and I think that's going to serve them well going forward. So, can't wait to actually see what they put on the field. If we were, doing a little bit of assumptive math here, if that Desert Star team that Regan worked with through middle school played like that, then I would assume that Regan team with more kids, a full off season, is going to be similar. And I think that's going to make for some really tough football.
Yep, which is why I have Lee Williams winning this game. Going to start out the Coach Regan area on top.
Yep, I agree. I think that's my probably lock of the week. So we'll see if I have to eat my words, Wickenburg, but we'll see. I think it's a fun slate of games. If you're a football fan, get out there, get to the field house, spend a couple bucks on some tickets, watch 2 games, and just, even if you're just a football fan, River Valley and Mojave both play good football.
Yes.
Ben Franklin and Paradise both play good football. You're going to watch some really good football. A lot of future college players will be on those fields, and they're great tests for local teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get out there, watch those games, and then you have a Thursday and a Saturday, so you got some other options to catch some games.
But yeah,
should be a lot of fun.
After that doubleheader and bullhead, you guys should definitely come up on a Saturday and enjoy the game.
What time is that game?
7 o'clock, so it's going to be a nice late, cool start too.
You know why I don't like 7 o'clock start times? This is the old fat guy in me, is nothing's open to eat afterwards. You got 9,000 people lined up at In-N-Out to go eat. And, I go to Kingman, I want to eat something good. I want to eat something I don't have down here. So
That's a good point. Good point.
that's the fat guy in me talking, you know what I mean? So
Well, we do have the best hot dogs in the county at Kingman High.
well, you guys actually cook there. You guys fire up a grill.
Yeah, no, our baseball coaches, they run the Snack Shack, and they're great.
It might have been a game or a screw. I can't remember. But I think I sent someone over for food a couple times at one of those games. It was a pretty good time. Yeah, a lot of fun. What else is going on in the football world that we're missing? Did we get everything?
I think we got all the games. I have our middle school jamboree this week at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Excited for that.
So what is a middle school jamboree?
It is the middle school version of a scrimmage. So we are going to have a round robin. We're going to scrimmage 4 teams, have 3-minute periods for each. I know we're going to see Desert Star. We're going to get to see Thunderbolt, Malk, and I believe White Cliffs as well. So,
That's great.
Yeah,
super
definitely
exciting.
excited. It's going to be at Mojave Valley Community Park, 6 p.m. on Thursday. So come on out.
Yeah, I might be able to make that one. That might be fun. If you follow these, so I coached youth ball before high school. But in a normal world, middle school is where these kids develop, and that's where you see your future. That's your feeder programs, your pipelines for what's coming into the high school. A healthy middle school program can make or break a high school, because if you're getting, we've talked about it before, if you're getting high school kids who've never played ball, it's hard to jump into that very competitive physical football. Middle school is where you learn. Middle school is where you develop. It's where you get your basics, especially if you have a good feeder program that is on a similar offense or defense, things like that.
Definitely.
So.
And I mean, the biggest thing that we can't take for granted is that we have middle school football programs up here. In Phoenix, that isn't really a thing. It's all club teams of different affiliations at different schools and whatnot.
Well, I'll tell you, one of my all-time great regrets is that I couldn't have kept all those Firebird kids together. You know, we had this Firebird team, probably 3 age groups deep, very, very tough teams, competed in Las Vegas, competed nationally, went to Florida for tournaments, and when they got to high school, they live in different places. They have different reasons for going to school. Some wanted to play basketball, so they went to basketball schools. Some wanted to play baseball, so they went to baseball schools. And so to this day, I'm still watching kids play at 3 or 4 different high schools who all played in that Firebird group together. And, you know, for a coach, it bums you out. You watch your, you know, in your head, your team go out and play against each other. And, you know, coach wants to see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That being said, the Toros and the Warriors, a couple local teams down here, had a scrimmage. I didn't get a chance to get out there, but we may have to throw some youth ball into the mix here at the rate we're going.
Yeah,
a lot of fun watching those kids, and that's, you know, that's age groups. It's the age group where their helmets are too big for their bodies up until middle school, and so it's a lot of fun watching those kids come up and do all those other things, and they're the future, the next wave.
Getting these middle schoolers helmets fitted, like, especially at Kingman Middle School.
Well, I'm sure they're all top of the line axioms. They're not hand-me-downs,
yeah, we have, something like that. We have 8th graders that, like, I have to get like a double XL for, and then I got these 6th graders who barely fit in an extra small youth helmet.
So I don't remember exactly how it all went, but I remember when there was the blip in between the River Valley coaches, and they didn't prepare. They weren't ready, and they didn't have helmet sizes. They didn't have whatever, and they ended up doing some type of like district helmet swap because we needed bigger helmets. They didn't have enough helmets, and so the district had us swapping helmets and things. And
oh my goodness,
it was pretty funny. And I think had to do, you know, they had changing coaches, a new guy come in late. They didn't get him reconditioned in time. Like, it was not that big a deal. It was one of the things that worked out, but it made me laugh that we didn't have big enough helmets for some of these kids. You know, they're big old pumpkin heads.
right?
But
Definitely.
yeah, pretty funny.
Well, thanks for having me again, Shane.
Yeah, listen, guys, please keep sending me the clips, give me the info. We will always kind of go off what we have, but if we don't have it, we don't really know. I appreciate you guys sending me those clips. You look great in your scrimmages. It's fun to see. If you have like a media page that kind of posts all your pictures and things like that, let us know where it is. We'll follow it. We'll grab those pictures, things like that. I also want to give a shout out to Matt from the paper. He does a great job giving me more information, things like that. And you know, we'll shout out the Standard also did another great
episode,
preview.
Yeah.
I saw some people talking about they used the wrong picture, but listen, be appreciative. From a guy who's trying their best, be appreciative of what you do have, and don't always just be in the comments griping.
Yep.
But if you are, at least comment.
Yeah. Exactly. Comment, like, subscribe.
Anything else, Jeff? What did we forget? We got our first athlete of the week today.
Yeah, we'll be
I
doing
can't tell you who it is yet.
Now we be cheating.
Paper will be mad I ruined
You'll
the
be mad.
surprise. But I
Friday
feel like,
you'll find out.
I feel like I might be going to Desert Star.
Friday you'll find out.
Very possible. Very possible.
Very possible. Guys, go out, watch these games. Good luck, everybody. Play hard, play safe, have fun. That's all I got.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.